Bethesda just released an official timeline for Starfield's story, and this is solid proof that Bethesda can still produce some of the best, if not the best, lore-based storylines in any game they put out. If you're a fan of video game lore, maybe you're an avid single-player fanatic who just loves immersing themselves into the story, then you definitely want to check this out. Hey, how's it going, amigos? If you've been following the channel, you're probably more familiar with my Diablo content. If you're new, welcome to the channel, and I hope you enjoy the content. Over the past few weeks, I've been playing other games and getting ready for other titles as well. The lineup towards the final stretch of 2023 has been and still is insane. If you're a fan of video games in general, like myself, we still have a lot to look forward to. One of those that we have to look forward to is the upcoming release of Starfield, Bethesda's huge new IP. This is the first time I think in 20-ish years that they've released a brand new IP, and I have been counting the days until I can dive in. Starfield officially releases September 6th, but if you pre-order the deluxe copy, you can get 5 days early access and start on the 1st of September. Now I want to go over what seems to be the big key historic takeaways here because they released an official timeline today. So the timeline begins in 2050. Humans first arrive on Mars. By 2100, humans are living in space. 2156, humans arrive in the Alpha Centauri, 4.3 light years away from Earth, and by year 2159, the United Colonies are established. Year 2160, New Atlantis is founded and becomes the official capital city of the United Colonies in 2161. Year 2167, Cheyenne is settled by Solomon Coe, who founds its first settlement, Aquila City. 2188, Coe invites Volley to join Cheyenne and the new alliance, the Freestar Collective. The Freestar Collective is officially formed in 2189. This was 22 years later, after Solomon founded the first settlement. Now another 6 years passes. In 2194, the United Colonies positions the star station called the Clinic in orbit around Dapala in the Narian system. The unaffiliated peoples of the Narian system sees this as United Colonies' attempt to expand their borders and demand the United Colonies remove the Clinic, and when they refuse, the people of Narian vote to join the Freestar Collective, who mobilized to protect the system in 2195. And then a year later, in response to the Freestar mobilization, the United Colony moves a fleet into the Narian system and Freestar responds in kind, and then the War of Narian begins. Now the war seems to last for 20 years until the day a treaty was signed by both the United Colonies and Freestar Collective in 2216. In 2211, the Freestar Rangers are founded as an elite protective and investigative force dedicated to serving all citizens of the Freestar Collective. 2275, Constellation is formed by Sebastian Banks. Year 2307. The Freestar Collective begins farming on the planet of Vesta in the Lunara system. By 2308, the United Colonies claims that establishing a colony in the 4th star system, the Freestar Collective has violated the Treaty of Narian. Diplomatic talks break down as the United Colony lays siege to Vesta, killing anyone who stayed behind or was brought in to defend it. The Colony War officially begins. 4 years later, after several years of conflict, the Colony War effectively comes to an end in year 2311. 2315, the United Colony Vanguard is founded in response to how they lost the war. This is composed of civilians who are granted citizenship to the United Colonies as their ultimate reward for service. In 2328, the Constellation purchases the star station L868 and modifies it to become a deep space scanner nicknamed the Eye. And this is where we get to indulge and begin our journey in Starfield 2 years later in 2338. So there are a lot of in-betweens that are interesting, especially if you have been following Starfield and are curious about every little detail as I am. Things like Constellation's HQ in New Atlantis being called the Lodge, Freestar Collective actually winning the Colony War, Constellation actually discovered the first artifact in 2310, 20 years before we start our adventures in discovering more about the artifacts. Sam Coe, a descendant of Solomon Coe, the one who founded Cheyenne, and the first settlement, Aquila City, joins Constellation with his daughter 3 years before, again, we start our journey in 2330. And so many more things to piece together and dissect. I personally cannot wait to jump in. It's going to be an absolute blast, I think. The thought of 1,000 planets to explore is mind-blowing. And the amount of detailing and work that they have put in just to the timeline alone tells me that we are in for an absolute treat when it comes to the writing and storytelling and just the overall immersion. And Bethesda's open world games have never really let me down in the past when it comes to these things. And maybe it's because it's something totally new, a brand new experience from Bethesda, but the thought of Starfield really does give me goosebumps. Now, I do plan on creating much more content for Starfield, diving in with tips, guides, news, and much more, so if you are interested in what I have to say or something that you could do to maybe improve your playthrough, don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time, amigos, take care.